Since the 2000s, Robert De Niro has appeared in a lot of bad movies. And this made me think, how could an actor that is so iconic and talented appear in so many bad movies? It didn't sit well with me. Robert De Niro is one of my favorite actors and has appeared in some of my favorite movies of all time. So I wanted to get to the bottom of this. And while doing my research for this video, I noticed something very interesting. I noticed a trend that seems to directly correspond with some of the events in his life. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the highs and lows of Robert De Niro's career and why such an amazing actor began appearing in so many critically bad movies. But before we dive in, I'll do the usual ask of all of you. If you're interested in movies or the film industry, make sure to subscribe to Film Stack to stay up to date on more great content. I release videos every Sunday and would love to take you along for the ride.
You talking to me?
Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Robert De Niro. This man needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyways. He is known as one of the best actors of all time. He perfected the craft of method acting, where he was able to transform himself completely into each role he took on. He starred and appeared in some of the best and most iconic films of all time, and his movies will probably live on as a huge part of cinema history for the rest of time. But there was a period of time where his career took a turn in the eyes of the critics. When doing research for this video, I put together a spreadsheet of all the movies Robert De Niro was in and included the critic reviews they received on Metacritic. And man, oh man, his movies are rated very highly, at least until a certain point. The Godfather Part 2, Taxi Driver, The Deer Hunter, Raging Bull, The King of Comedy, Goodfellas, Cape Fear, Heat, Casino, and Jackie Brown are some of the best and most iconic movies of all time. And he played either a leading or a very important supporting role in all of them. Most actors wish they could star in even one or two movies that have such a high opinion as the ones that I listed, let alone all of them. These movies alone make him a legend. But they were all made before the 2000s. In the 2000s, Robert De Niro started playing in movies that almost seemed like he was phoning it in, just collecting a paycheck. He became comfortable in a certain range and even began parodying himself with all of his iconic grimaces and menacing glares. And I'm not saying that he only played in bad movies during that time, but when you look at a graph of critic reviews of the movies he was in, other than a few outliers, you can see a significant downward trend. I would even say a plummet during and around the year 2002. From the year 2002 to now, he's been in only 3 movies that passed the 70 score on Metacritic. And that's 3 out of about 30 movies. That's not great by any measure. Just as an aside, on Metacritic, any score above a 70 is considered to be good. But don't forget, critics aren't always right, and you shouldn't base your taste off of what critics consider to be good movies. But usually they're pretty accurate, at least relative to their own reviews. And user scores don't always agree with critics, but for the sake of this video, we'll be looking at critic scores alone. So like I said, from 2002 to today, Bobby De Niro only appeared in 3 movies which broke the 70 barrier on Metacritic. And out of all the movies he appeared during that time, less than half were able to break the 50 range. Before the 2000s, over 90% of his movies broke the 50 range, with the majority of them being rated over 70, and a large number of those being rated in the high 80s and 90s. So why? Why did De Niro star in so many bad movies after having such an amazing career? Why not continue this streak? Well, I think it comes down to a few key things. For one, he already made a name for himself. He already became such an iconic actor, improved his acting chops, and even defined his legacy that basically no number of bad movies would ruin it. The foundation was too strong. So when movies came along that were more lighthearted, required less effort, but still paid really well, why wouldn't he take them? Sure, some people will say he cashed out, but I don't blame him. If you've been following the recent news, he's been having some financial troubles. Many articles and even Robert De Niro's lawyer has stated that De Niro is forced to work because his estranged wife, Grace Hightower, has a very pricey lifestyle and he has to work to support her spending habits. I don't know how much truth there is to this, but it seems to be a big topic of discussion for a lot of news outlets lately. And when financial troubles come into play, you don't really have the option to be picky. So he's not. He seems to be appearing in any role that probably pays very well. And the interesting thing is that there seems to be a direct correlation between when he started appearing in all of these quote-unquote bad movies and when he got married. I don't think it's a coincidence that he got married to Grace Hightower in 1997, and then the movies he was appearing in shortly after that took a nosedive. But don't get me wrong, it's not like he hasn't appeared in any good movies since the beginning of the 2000s. He's been in movies like Grudge Match and Dirty Grandpa. Okay, I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, he has been in 2012's Silver Linings Playbook, 2019's The Joker, and The Irishman. These are some really great movies that show us he still has it. He is still a great actor that can pick up some amazing roles, but these are most likely not the roles he will be remembered for. Robert De Niro is a legend. He is one of the greatest actors of all time, and no matter how many bad movies he appears in for the rest of his career, he will always be a legend, at least in my eyes. But at least now we have some reason why he's appearing in so many bad movies. Thanks for watching. This video started off completely different than what it ended up as. It was originally going to be about the rise and fall and then recent rise again of Robert De Niro. But once I started doing research and crunching the numbers, I noticed a trend that was difficult to ignore. Now, don't forget, this is all my opinion and what I believe happened, but if it is true, I kind of feel bad for the guy. This guy is a legend who feels like he's forced to work to pay the bills by picking up any role, no matter how bad. It's kind of a sad story. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you like videos about movies and the film industry, make sure to subscribe to FilmStack. I release videos every Sunday and would love for you to join the community. And until next time, have a good one.